Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much.
We're joined today by Mike Chapman, who is the lead designer at Rare. Mike,
good morning.
How are you?
Very well.
Welcome to E3. It hasn't even started yet.
I know, it's amazing. It's great to be here.
We're on the
Great
show
off
floor.
The game, finally.
Yeah, we're so excited to see it.
Sea of Thieves. So tell us a little bit about the game.
Yeah, so what we're showing is kind of one example of the things you can do in the game. If you saw the cinematic trailer we showed at the briefing yesterday, it really shows kind of the breadth of the experience. So what we're kind of offering to players is your chance to live your ultimate pirate fantasy. So for me, like pirates as a theme, it's so appealing to a broad range of players. But to really kind of do new things with the experience where you can choose your rules, you can choose the goals, you choose the role that you have on the ship, and it's just this kind of fantastic world that you can just get lost in.
So one of the things that we saw was that you could team up and kind of have this like awesome team-oriented combat. But is there a single-player campaign at all? Have you guys? I know you haven't really talked about it yet, but is there one?
So there's not a single-player campaign. We're not really talking about that. The core of the experience for us, what we're showing, is kind of that ship experience where you form a crew with your friends or other people online, and you go out there and you have these great adventures together. That's really the heart of our experience. That's what makes our experience different.
Yeah, there's no one-man sailing crew. There's no one man out there in his own navy. You got it. You're part of a team.
That's right. That's the heart of our game.
And
That's awesome.
that being said, how many people can you have on one ship? Like if I was running a full crew, what would that look like?
So we're kind of going to leave that up to players. We haven't going to lock down specifics yet around the numbers on the ship. I think when we designed that ship, we kind of had numbers in mind, maybe between 3 and 6 players. So everyone's got a role to do on the ship. Like being out there on the open waves together feels compelling. There's always feels like there's something to do, and dynamically those roles can change. But it's up to the players really. I mean, we haven't locked down crew size at all yet.
How much fan feedback are you taking on the roles that you can take on the ship? Because I want to just mop poop decks, right? I just want to be that person who makes the poop deck joke. Absolutely, right off the bat. Tell me that's a DLC we're going to get eventually.
I think when you think of like pirate fantasy, all of those things that you can imagine that could be in this.
Deck.
It's one.
That's where I go immediately.
It's one of the things that you think, but no, it's like role playing as a pirate. All these kind of like classic tropes that come into your mind. That's something we want to support.
Yeah, and I mean also like to me when I think pirates, I'm thinking singing sea shanties. And is that part of the game? Like,
did you see the instruments?
Are there instruments in the games? I missed those.
Oh,
I saw people walking the plank. I saw people drinking. I got excited about that. So
so like the shanties are in the game, and you can play instruments. You can have like your own pirate band, and they're almost like our version of emotes, where the items that we have in the game they're so expressive. Like people going into battle, exploring an island, going on a quest, playing these instruments together. It's just a wonderful experience.
Yeah, no, we saw the gameplay trailer yesterday. We actually had people from your community come and play the game, and I love that idea. That it was just like, hey, we're just gonna put you in the game and let you figure it out. Like no demos, no tutorials. You just throw them in and let them figure it out on their own. That's pretty genius.
Yeah,
actually.
no, it was the whole thing was so good. I mean, that's really the goal for us, was to make all of our mechanics really intuitive, where we don't want to handhold people. We just want to create this pirate world for them. It's like, hey, here's a ship, form a crew, and just go out there and have adventures. It's not about handholding the player or kind of forcing tutorials on them. It's just really kind of open. To see those guys just pick it up so fast was just confirmation for us that we were doing the right things.
Well, that's where you get the best experiences, right? When players do something you never could have scripted for them. We actually have a question from the YouTube chat. Supercharge asks, are there any Krakens in the game? And also, how large is the map?
So there are Krakens. If you saw that in the cinematic trailer yesterday, you saw there was a Kraken. It's like perfect example of like being in the pirate world. Just these mythological, like fantastical creatures in the world. So that will be a big part of the game. And the second question was around
how large the map is.
So we're not like detailing the specifics, like in terms of square footage. But I think what's critical for us is that the world is this big, vast world. It's seamless, it's immersive. You can just pick a point on the horizon and just sail there, and it's just a mix of long epic voyages and like the little short voyages around these clusters of islands, and it's a big world. And just crucially, it's really important that crews can have that the alone time together. They feel like they're going on the adventure, but then you can come across other ships. It's not about constantly being beset by other crews.
So there will be NPCs as well in the game. So it's not just fully populated by humans. It's like you could bump into an AI-controlled other ship that you can then attack and go after, I'm guessing?
We're not really talking about that specifically, but I mean the heart of our game is real players playing together on that ship and having that fantastic cooperative experience.
Okay. So is it just gonna be like one? I mean, I don't know if you can talk about it, but is it like just gonna be one big server, where it's kind of you jump into a game and you start playing, and you might encounter other people, or is it more like you need to join a server? Like if I want to play with just my friends on a thing, like is that gonna be possible?
I think what's really important for us is that with a game like Sea of Thieves, where it's this pirate fantasy, people want to play in different ways, whether that's playing with their friends, playing in different size groups, playing like doing completely different things, having different goals and motivations in the game. It's really important for us that we serve all of those goals, because it's just there's so much potential with this kind of like this cooperative adventure game.
So we have a couple questions again from the chat. At Ron X Ron, but let's just make it Ron's Ron. Asks how you can upgrade the ships.
So there will be ship customization, and again, it kind of goes back to what I was saying around what different player motivations there might be in the game. I think for some players, it's important to kind of customize and have like different sails and different kind of like aspects to the ship, and there'll also be functional upgrades as well. A lot of kind of the ship features can be upgraded. I mean, we're not talking like in exact specifics on like how those things progress in terms of structure, but that will be there. That will be a big part of the game.
Now, could it be something where you could have like your own, like say I make a pirate flag and I fly? Could I have other members, like other ships, fly under my flag? Could I have a whole fleet of my friends, or like kind of like gangs in Grand Theft Auto? Is there something like that in this?
I can't confirm that, but that sounds pretty awesome. That sounds awesome.
You heard it here. That sounds pretty awesome. Remember to use the hashtag RTE3 over on Twitter if you want to ask questions of Mike about Sea of Thieves. So
yeah, we've also got a bunch of YouTube questions coming in. We have another question here that's from, you know what your name is, just a burble Shinryu. And some other stuff, asks, is there a character creation, or are you assigned a character?
So, again, I'm kind of referring back to those motivations that, like players creating their characters. I mean, it's kind of a fundamental player expectation. I mean, again, we really don't want to talk specifics. There'll be a lot more to talk about in the future around that, but players will be able to feel like they can invest in their character, they can change aspects of the character. That's an important part of the game as well.
All right. I've got Dear Lay on Twitter says, once your ship is destroyed, how do you go about getting another one? Is it hard? Do repairs work, or how do repairs work? And if you end up getting hit, so like, can you repair your ship and keep it afloat? If it sinks, does it go away and you just have to start over from scratch, or?
Yeah, so you see a lot of aspects of that in the kind of gameplay we've got on the show floor, where the ship can take damage. There's a whole ship damage system. When the ship takes damage, it starts filling up with water, and players can kind of like rush downstairs and use planks to kind of patch up the holes. Like water fills in the hull, and the more water in the hull, the ship sinks lower in the water, and then like holes on the middle deck start taking on water. It's really kind of immersive.
Is there a whole like bailing system where you
is
can
there
have
like drowning mechanics where you have to get away from the ship or it sucks you under?
Is there a bucket brigade or something?
It's all there. It's all there in the gameplay
trailer.
That's all possible.
Fantastic. Yeah, man, I just picture Achievement Hunter playing this one maybe versus Funhouse, like having our squad versus them, and that's going to be. Well, I mean, it's going to be Captain Jeff, right? Who would be the captain of Funhouse?
Is it? I mean, did you miss the obvious Captain Jack pun there?
No, there's no way I would become captain over him.
I'm sorry. So we don't have a release date yet for Sea of Thieves. I'm sure it's another one of those, like, we can't talk about it yet. But when do you think we'll hear about when we can play this game?
I think the important thing to mention is that the next big goal for us is to get players into a beta. As I think the scope of the game, the scale of the game, how ambitious we kind of see this game being. We really want to get real players in there and see how they play. And I know I've kind of mentioned quite a few times about like the player motivations, but that's the truth, right? Players will come into this game and they'll want to do different things. And seeing what they do when they go in there, I mean, for me, that's just fascinating. Just to throw players into this world and see what they get up to, and then be able to shape the game based on their feedback. It's a massive opportunity. It's something new. It's something different, and it allows us to have a closer relationship with their fans and their players.
So when people join into a ship together, they have their own crew of this ship. Is it just first come first serve for captain? Is there some sort of system by which you could battle for captain, or is there something there where if somebody's already taken your role that you'd like to have, that you can somehow combat that, or how does that work?
So the important thing for us was that we didn't want to define and lock players down to roles. I mean, the way the world works is you kind of head in there and anything can happen. I mean, there's lots of emergent encounters that can happen in the game. So players being able to dynamically swap roles is really important. It's really up to the players. I mean, there's no no system that really governs that. You're on the ship, and it's up to you. It's up to you. It's up to you to negotiate who takes the wheel, who takes the different roles on the ship. It's completely open.
I like too. Like I saw in the trailer, it was like the captain. He was controlling where the boat was going or the ship was going, but he couldn't see because the sails were in front of him. Yeah. He still has to rely on his teammates and his crew hands to actually help him go. So that was pretty cool. Yeah, I got a question here from TJ on Twitter. Says for Sea of Thieves, are there different ship classes, or is there just going to be one ship?
I think that. Again, that sounds really cool. I'm sure eventually we'll have different ships in the game, but right now we're just focusing on that core big ship experience. That's the heart of our game for us.
So it's a pirate world. So gotta ask, where's the hidden treasure, and how many treasure maps are littered throughout this world? There's gotta be. I've gotta hit an X at least once a day.
So one of the big reasons that we wanted to show that cinematic trailer was to really show the breadth of the experience. So everything you're seeing there is like something that we'll support in the game. So yes, going after like legendary lost artifacts, exploring in caves, like battling mythical creatures, digging up buried treasure. It's all of those pirate tropes that you can imagine. That has to be in the game.
Lots of drinking.
Lots of walking the plank.
Lots of fun, lots of humor. It's a classic Rare game. It's got that Rare charm.
Yes. Yeah, so you touched on like the Rare legacy. So this is something where, again, you want to bring that sort of fun, that sort of charm, like you were saying. Yeah. So is it the humorous writing? Is it in the things that you get to do? Where does Rare's like signature shine on this game?
I think the gameplay trailer that we showed shows it off really well, where it was really important for us that we conveyed the right tone. And I think maybe the first expectation is to go kind of really dry and serious with a pirate game. But for us, we really wanted to make it feel like this fantastical world. And being able to just relax together, drink together, play instruments together. I mean, even whether those things have any other functions, it's kind of irrelevant. It's just, you're just expressing yourself and just kicking back and having fun with your crew. It's a great way to bond players when they're playing together.
Nice. Now, Bandicoot Haven on Twitter says, are there quests in the Sea of Thieves? So is there like missions kind of in this game where I could maybe take my crew out and go do something?
Absolutely, there will be quests in the game, and there'll be quests that serve those different motivations. So if you want one quest based more around exploration, I'm sure we'll support that. More specific quests around finding treasure, I mean, yeah.
For characters, what about a leveling system? Is there any sort of like, when you complete those quests, is it experience points that you're getting? Is it money that you're getting? What's happening there?
Again, not really.
No worries.
I know, not really talking about that specifically,
okay.
but yeah, there'll be different ways for players to progress in the game based on what they want to go and do.
Very cool. Can I become like a pirate captain that just like takes over people's ships and then sinks them? Like, is that something you can do? You can just take someone over someone else's ship and sink it?
Of course.
Absolutely.
There's so much freedom in the game.
Yeah. Why not?
Yeah,
why wouldn't you just absolutely sink everyone's ship?
Man, I'm just excited to sail the high seas. Like, that's just going to be fun. Just be able to cruise around and it's like put the wind in my back and just keep going, and then maybe get some drinking.
For Twitch plays Sea of Thieves, where it's like I'm turning the wheel right, I'm turning the wheel left, and then on and on and on until it sinks.
And I love that you guys showed off the drinking too in the game. Like I love that we were watching. There were 3 teams in that trailer, and there was one team just in a bar, just getting hammered, while the other 2 teams were like, "Okay, guys, let's do this." And they went, "Oh crap, they're here!" and like, pop in their ship and fly and go away. So that was fun, and I love that social aspect of it. And I'm assuming, are there going to be like bar games too? Maybe like if hey, go to a bar, play some poker or liar's dice or something. Or
I think like that was a great example actually. Like that was the first time they played. They were just in the tavern together, and they saw some grog tankards, and they just started all drinking, all knocking it back together.
As you do.
And I think like the type of game it is where we just want to give players a set of tools. So when we add kind of items into the game, players can use those items in different ways, and if they want to like have games, they can absolutely do that.
So one of the things you talked about with NPCs in the game is we're sort of building this fantastical world, pirate tropes, NPCs. Do we have actual real-world pirates? Am I going to meet like Blackbeard or anything along the way?
So that's actually a really good question. So for us, when we're thinking about the game, of the classic pirates that you can think of, like Blackbeard and Long John Silver, Jack Sparrow, of course, obviously a huge pirate. I mean, for us, the players are the stars of our game. So one of the things that was really inspiring early on when we were kind of like forming the vision for the game was that we wanted players to become our Blackbeards. Players have that sense of history around them. It's based on what you do in the world. The adventures and the deeds you do in the world is what creates that reputation, and the players are the main stars of our game.
So does that mean there's going to be some kind of leaderboard system where like maybe you can become a famous pirate within the world of Sea of Thieves?
I can't confirm specifically, unfortunately.
You give us a taste and you take it away.
I apologize. I know it's really, really cryptic, but
no, you guys. I mean, you just announced, so I mean that's pretty great. I mean, the game looked fantastic too.
Yeah.
I mean,
cool. Thank you.
It looks a lot of fun. I mean, immediately it's like you said, like watching a team of people sit down, never playing it before, and immediately knowing what to do.
Massively inspiring. I mean, for us as well to see that for the first time is like, people were choking up and getting quite emotional.
Aww.
It's such a magical moment to see real players get a hold of your game. It's really cool.
Can you talk a little bit about the development? Like, how long have you guys been working on Sea of Thieves?
Well, we've had a core team on it for quite a while. We have a prototype, so we prototyped kind of the core of the game quite early. We really just wanted to get to the fun of the experience as fast as possible, and we felt like we had a great experience really early on. But since then, we've just been focusing on how we kind of build out that scale in the world, how we kind of like get all these people together in the world, and we really give players that freedom. That's really been our focus now.
And Deacon Sashgear on Twitter says, "I'm on PC, but my buddy's on Xbox One. Crossplay, maybe? Is that something we might see?"
So, big part of the conference yesterday was Xbox Play Anywhere, and I think the social kind of element of our game, like multiplayer experience, it'd be a massive advantage for us. So that is something that we're going to look at. We're going to look to support.
So you talked about having a beta and that being your focus.
Yep.
You know I'm going to ask a question you can't answer.
Go ahead.
When can we expect to hear about possibly a beta?
Soon.
Yes.
Maybe. No. We're not. Again, it's what matters is getting the experience right, and I think like this. I mean, I know people want to know dates. I understand that. I'd be the same. A game getting announced, you want to hear the dates, but for us, it's just about having the right experience, and we don't want to go live with anything till we know it's a game that shows up the vision well, and it's just the experience we want to create.
I think as gamers, we all understand dates, but I think it really does speak to the quality of the game that people saw yesterday and have seen from Sea of Thieves, that they feel like that already looks polished enough. I'd like to get my hands on it. So congratulations, honestly, because it's annoying to keep saying I can't tell you, but I'm sure. But it's a compliment just because everyone's so excited to get their hands on it.
That's great. That means a lot.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's like, okay, we've never heard of this game ever. Now we're watching a trailer of people playing the game, like normal people playing the game. It's like, why can't I be that person? You know. So someone asked here, if you can you actually take hostages in the game?
Oh, wow.
You thought my ship sinking was dark.
Yeah. William Burton 10 says, can you take hostages from other crews?
Oh, that is a great question. Again, I don't want to confirm any kind of the specific things that you can do. What I will say, I know I keep saying it, but the freedom that we give players, that's what creates the emergent play. That's what kind of every time you play the game, something different can happen, and that is so unique. And I think that the fact that players are coming up with specific examples is really great to hear. It makes me feel good that we're on the right track.
Yeah, you're giving people plenty of lead time to come up with sick things to do in your game.
Yeah, I can imagine some amazing role players too, like really getting into it, like like in the costumes, voices.
People were playing the game last night, and they're like, "Oh, which way's port? Which way's starboard?" Like people really wanted to get into the proper lingo, and that's great to see. Just people like role playing as pirates after 5 minutes. It's great.
Guys, get Google. What's port? Did pirates have Google?
Is it left? Anybody? Is it forward? I'm not sure.
Am I telling him the right thing? Am I telling him the right thing?
Well, you don't want to be a scrub, okay? And Sea of Thieves, you gotta be respectable. You gotta use the lingo.
And I've also had a few people asking, well, we have local multiplayer. I've had that pop up a couple times. Alien Gerard asked that. So, I know, split screen and stuff. Is that something you guys have looked at, or even LAN play?
I mean, we as you can imagine, when you're starting to work on a game, you look at all aspects of the way you can kind of deliver that experience. But for us, we're a shared world, and we're an online experience on, again, Windows 10 and Xbox One.
Sweet.
Very cool. Well, thank you so much. I know we have some footage that we were playing during it, so it looks gorgeous.
Thank you.
I think we're going to toss it back over to Adam and Joel. Yeah? Awesome. I never know if that's going to happen. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Incredible looking game.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much.